Nittai guna mani yama, nittai guna mani, aniya primervanya, vasailavani, primervanya lai nittai, aila goradesh, dubila bhakta gana, dinahina vase. Dinahina patita pa maranahi bache brahmara durlabha prem sabakare jache nitai guna mani yama nitai guna mani nitai guna mani yama nitai guna mani Aniya Primeravanya Vasailavani Aniya Primeravanya Vasailavani Dinahina Patitapa Maranahi Bache Brahmara Durlabha Prem Sabakare Jache Abhada Karuna Sindhu Katiya Mohan Gare Gare Bhule Prem Ameya Jaravan Abhada Karuna Sindhu Katiya Mohan Gare Gare Bhule Prem Ameya Jaravan Lochana Vale Moranitai Jivana Bhajilo Janiya Shuniya Se Atmagati Haila Janiya Shuniya Se Atmagati Haila Lochan Vale Moranitai Jivana Bhajilo Janiya Shuniya Se Atmagati Haila Nitai, 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 Jaya Doya, Nitai, Doya Nitai, Doya Nitai, Doya Nitai, Doya Nitai. Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram, Nityananda, 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 Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram. Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Eka Chakradham, Nityananda Ram, Jaya Eka Chakradham, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Nitai, 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 Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Nityananda, 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 Nitai Guna Maniyama, Nitai Guna Maniyaniya, Primera Vanya, Vasaila Vani, Nitai Guna Maniyama, Nitai Guna Maniyaniya, Primera Vanya, Vasaila Vani. Nitai Guna Mani. My Nitai, the jewel of all virtues. My Nitai has brought the flood of divine love in which the whole world is sinking. Nitai brought this overwhelming deluge of prema from Bengal to Puri, preaching Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message of prema. The devotees drowned in the ecstasy of the flood of God initiated by Nitai. But the wretched and fallen, they were swept along with that vast, powerful current of love. Without discriminating, Nityananda Prabhu freely offered this rare Krishna prema to all, even to the most fallen and wretched, who do not desire it. And who could? No one could avoid it. Although this prema, this Krishna prema, Braja Prema, is very difficult, even for Lord Brahma to attain. The ocean of mercy had formerly been sealed tight. But Nitai broke the dam, Katya Buhan. He went from house to house, Gade Gade, with this nectarian prema, sweetly asking everyone to take Harinam. Lochandas Thakur says, if someone has not worshipped my Nitai, or who has heard, yet does not follow Nitai's instructions, knowingly he is killing himself. Nityananda Ram Ki Jai. This is an introduction to this new series, this new introduction to our tape collection called Nityananda Kathamritam. This is a collection of the teachings and pastimes of Nityananda. Nityananda appeared in this world in the auspicious month of Magh, on the day of Trayodasi, Nityananda Trayodasi. We all worship him on that day, and we worship him throughout the year by performing Sankirtan. So we collected all these lectures and pastimes on these CDs, so that on Nityananda Trayodasi, or any time one wants to remember Nityananda and hear his glories and remember his glories, they can listen to this CD series and become purified. There are many beautiful verses in Chaitanya Charitamrita and in the Chaitanya Bhagavat and Bhakti Ratnakar and other places that describe the vast and unlimited glories of Lord Nityananda. As an introduction to this series, I wanted to cite some selected verses glorifying Nityananda. Most all these verses were spoken by Lord Gauranga. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayanya. The Gauranga Mahaprabhu is non-different. He is Radha Krishna Yugala Sarup, Prem Sarup, Yugal Kishore Sarup. And he glorifies Nityananda, who serves Krishna in all his forms and avatars and incarnations. And he also serves Krishna in all his rasas, whether it's Vaikuntha or in this world or in Goloka Vrindavan. Nityananda in Goloka Vrindavan, of course, is Balaram, but he expands himself in various forms and relationships in different rasas and mellows of love to serve and please Sri Krishna with his every thought, word and deed. He serves Krishna in Shanta Ras and Dasi Ras, Sakhi Ras, of course, as a Gopa, coward boy, and in Vatsalya Ras, in the mood of protection, nourishing, looking after, and also Madhurya Ras, when he expands his Ladani Shakti into the beautiful sweet form of Radharani's younger sister, known as Srimati Ananga Manjari. So in this way he's absorbed in the bliss of Seva, Sevananda. Beautiful, so many beautiful verses. Lord Gauranga identifies Lord Nityananda and explains his vast glories. This is a verse from Antyakanda, Chaitanya Bhagavat. Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu said, Mahayogeshvare yaha Paite durlab, Nityananda haite taha, Paiba sulab. From Nityananda you will easily obtain that which is rarely attained by the best of mystic yogis. So Mahayogeshvara, durlab, it's very difficult, very hard to attain or to achieve, even the greatest mystic yogis. You can easily attain it by the mercy of Nityananda. Then Gauranga goes on further. Eteke hayatumi mahasavadan Nityananda seviha jahena bhagavan. Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu said, everyone should very carefully, mahasavadan, everyone should very carefully serve Nityananda, knowing him to be Bhagavan himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jai Nitai, Jai Nitai. Then in Madhyakanda, Gauranga says, Name Nityananda Tumi, Rupe Nityananda, E Tumi Nityananda, Ramamurti Manta. Your name is Nityananda, said Gauranga, and your spiritual form is full of eternal bliss. You are directly the form of Balaram. Nityananda prasade se haya Vishnu bhakti janiha Krishnera Nityananda purna shakti. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, simply by the mercy of Nityananda, Nityananda Prasad, one can obtain pure devotional service to Krishna, Vishnu Bhakti. Know it for certain that Nityananda is the Purna Shakti of Bhagavan. He is Krishna Purna Shakti. The complete and full unlimited potency of Krishna are within Nityananda. Vedera agamya Nityanandera charitra sarva jiva janaka rakshaka sarvamitra. The charitra, the characteristics of Nityananda are incomprehensible to the Vedas. Veda agamya. Nitai is the origin, protector and friend of the jivas. He's Sarvamitra. Nitai is Sarvamitra. He's our friend. He's everyone's friend. He's the Rakshak. He's everyone's protector. And he's the origin, Sarvajiva Janaka. Ihara Vyabhara Sabha Krishna Rasamoy Ihane Sevile Krishna Prema Bhakti Hai. Nitai's dealings are full of transcendental mellows for Krishna. Just by serving Nityananda, one obtains Krishna Prema Bhakti. This is the statement of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Sevile Krishna Prema Bhakti Hai, Krishna Rasamoy, Vyabhara Sabha. Vyabhara Sabha Krishna Rasamai. All of the dealings and activities and interactions and mercy and kindness displayed on one by Nityananda are Krishna Rasamaya, full of transcendental mellows of Krishna Prem. Sevile, just by serving Nityananda one obtains devotional service and love of Krishna. Then he goes on to say, Jai Tamare Pritikare Muni Satyatar Tamabai Priyatam Nahika Amar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I certainly belong to one who loves you, for no one is more dear to me than you, my Nitai. And then later he says, Mahaprabhu said, Nama Rupe Tumi Nityananda Murti Manta Sri Vaishnav Dhama Tumi Ishvara Ananta. Mahaprabhu said, O Nitai, you are the personified form of the holy name, Nam Rup Murti Manta, Nityananda. And you are the form of eternal bliss, Nityananda Murti. Nitai, you are the abode of all the Vaishnavas, Sri Vaishnav Dham, and you are the Supreme Controller Anantadev. Nicha Jati Patita Adama Jata Janna Toma Haite Haila Ebe Sabhara Mochan. O Nitai, all the fallen, wretched, low-born living entities will now be delivered by your mercy. Sabara Mochan. Anicca Jati Patita Adam. That's us. Tomara Mahima Jani Bhare Shaktikar Murtimanta Tumi Krishna Rasa Avatar. O Nitai, said Gauranga, who has the power to know your glories? Tomara Mahima Jani Bhare Shaktikar. You, Nitai, are the personification of the transcendental mellows of love for Krishna. You are the Krishna Rasa Avatar Murti. Krishna Ras Avatar Murti. Krishna Chandra Tomara Hridaye Nirantar Tomara Vigraha Krishna Vilasaraghar. Krishna Chandra always resides in your heart, and your body is the abode of Krishna's pastimes. Krishna Vilas Gar. Tomara Vigraha. Your form, Nitai, is Krishna Vilas Gar, the home and abode of Krishna's Vilas. Ateva Tomare Ye Jane Priti Kare Satya Satya Krishna Kabu Nachoribe Tare. Gauranga said, O Nitai, it is certainly true that Krishna will never leave anyone who becomes attached to you. Satya Satya Krishna Kabu Nacharibe Tare. Jai Jane Priti Kare. Priti Kare. One who shows love for Nitai. He loves Nitai's name. He loves Nitai's fame, qualities, characteristics, pastimes. He loves Nitai's devotees. He loves Nitai's preaching movement. He loves Nitai's Sankirtan movement. He loves Nitai. He loves to distribute love on behalf of Nitai. He loves to help the most fallen. The Nitai, that's his Priti Kare, Jani Priti Kare. He shows his love in multivarious ways for Nityananda. By bhajan, by loving devotees, by preaching to the fallen, by distributing mercy to everyone. Yari deki taha kaha Krishna Upadesh, Amara Agyari Guru. He tells everyone, Bhaja Goranga, Kaha Goranga, Loha Goranga Namare. Nitai said, worship Goranga, Bhaja Goranga, take Goranga's name, become his devotee. Bhaja Goranga, Kaha Loha Goranga Nam. Goranga, Goranga, Goranga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai, Nitai, Nitai. Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur. Gauranga said, Tomara se preme bhakti, tumi prema mai, bina tumi dile karo, bhakti nahi hai. And Gauranga said, O Nityananda, prema bhakti belongs to you. O Nitai, you are the very form, and you are saturated, you are made of Krishna prema, ecstatic love. Unless you distribute this bhakti, no one can attain it. Bina tumi dile karo, bhakti nahi hai. So we pray to Nityananda that he will grant us this great gift of Krishna Prema. And now everyone can listen to these teachings and pastimes of this Nityananda Katamritam and become attached to Nityananda and absorbed in remembering Nityananda and praying to Nityananda and surrendering to Nityananda and distributing Nityananda's mercy to all. Because anything is possible by the mercy of Nityananda. Even the most fallen and wretched human beings like ourselves can be saved and liberated and granted love of God by the mercy of Nityananda. When one attains the mercy of Nityananda, then he attains the mercy of Gauranga. And when one attains the mercy of Gauranga, then he attains Radha and Krishna Yugal in the groves of Vrindavan, in his Siddhadeha, as their eternal loving servant, as a Gopi Dasi, Dasi Anudasi. Nityananda, 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 Nitai, 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 Jaya 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 Nityananda Ram, 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 Jaya Eka Chakradam, Nityananda Ram, Jaya Eka Chakradam, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur. Nityananda Gauranga, Nityananda Gauranga, Nityananda Gauranga, Nityananda Gauranga, Nityananda Gauranga, Nityananda Gauranga, Nitai, 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 Nityananda, 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 Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, 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 Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Nityananda 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Nityananda Nityananda Nityananda. Reading from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chapter 4, the revelation of Nityananda's glories. We heard in Chapter 3 how Lord Chaitanya began his Sankirtan movement after being initiated. And this chapter, Nityananda meets Lord Chaitanya at the house of Nandanacharya. Before Lord Chaitanya was born, Nityananda went on a tour of India, just like Balaram went on a tour of India during the Kurukshetra war. Because he didn't want to take part, because he had friends on both sides. Duryodhana was his disciple in club fighting, so Balaram didn't want to have to fight against his student, so he went all over India. And Nityananda, who was also Balaram, he traveled all over India, waiting for Lord Chaitanya to initiate his Sankirtan pastimes, which he would play an intimate part. So Nityananda returned to Navadvip from Vrindavan. He was staying in Vrindavan at Shrinkarvat, which is also called Nityanandavat. And he left there and he returned and hid himself in Nandanacharya's house and then waited for Lord Chaitanya to discover him. And Lord Chaitanya knew he was there, so then he requested his disciples, or rather followers. He said, please, a great personality has come to Navadvip, to Mayapur. Please go and you find him. Nityananda's come. So they went everywhere and searched every house in Navadvip and Mayapur, and they said, we can't find him. He said, really, you can't find? And then he said, okay, start a kirtan party. So they went in a kirtan party, and then they walked from Jagannath Mishra Bhavan. And they walked, it's not very far, maybe 2 kilometers. You saw? No. You went to Mayapur? You never saw Yoga Pit? Well, that's where Jagannath Mishra's Bhavan was. And then and Nandanacharya's house is to the left of ISKCON. You go out ISKCON gate and turn left and go maybe to the first Gaudiya Math on your left. I think it's Madhava Maharaj. Bhakti Dhira Damodara Maharaj is in charge over there, his followers. And that's the site of the house of Nandanacharya. So Lord Chaitanya started a kirtan party. He went there and he met Lord Nityananda. They embraced, and it's a very wonderful, ecstatic meeting of Gaur Nitai. And this chapter 4 in Chaitanya Bhagavat describes that beautiful meeting. And in that meeting, Lord Chaitanya personally describes to all of his followers the glories of Nityananda. So everyone knows who Nityananda is. Jaya Jaya Jagat Jiva, Jaya Jaya Jagat Jivana Gora Chandra, Anakshana Hao Smriti Tava Paradwandva. All glories to Sri Gaurachandra, the life and soul of the entire universe. May your lotus feet be constantly fixed in my mind. Nityananda Samukhe Rahila Vishwambar Chini Lena Nityananda Apana Ishvar. As Vishwambar stood in front of Nityananda, Nityananda recognized his worshipable Lord. Harishe Stambita Haila Nityananda Rai Ekadristi Hai Vishwambhara Rupachai. Nityananda became stunned in ecstasy as he stared at the beautiful form of Vishwambar. Harishe Stambita Hoila Nityananda Rai Ekadrishti Hai Vishwambhara Rupachai. Ek Drishti. Ek Drishti. It's interesting. Ek Drishti is translated as stared. It means he had one thing in his sight and nothing else. Nothing else was allowed in his sight. Just like when Dronacharya was testing the archery skill of some of his students, and similar to the test that was done to win the hand of Draupadi. But this was a test by Dronacharya with some of his archery students. So he hung a fish from the ceiling, and then he asked Duryodhana to string a bow and shoot the eye of the fish. It's similar to the test in Draupadi. These are all his students. So Dronacharya, then when he strung the bow, then Dronacharya said, "What do you see?" He said, I see the ceiling, I see the fish, I see the eye." He said, "Okay, you put the bow down." And then he called another student. And then he said, "I see the fish in the eye." He said, "Oh, you put the bow down." And he called Arjun. And Arjun, he said, "Arjun, what do you see?" He said, "I only see the eye." So, of course, this was how he was able to later to win the hand of Draupadi, because there was a similar test done like this to win Draupadi's hand. Archery, testing his skill in archery. So I heard one Acharya explain that this is how a devotee should be. He should be like an archer in his practice of devotion. That he, like Arjun, there were so many, even the object, he could not see anything but his goal. He was pinpointed, he was completely focused on his goal of his life. The goal of his archery was to, the order of the Guru, his Dhanurved Guru, Dronacharya, was to shoot the eye of the fish hanging from the ceiling. So that's all he saw was his goal. So when this is called Nishtita Bhakti. Nishtita Bhakti, when we become fixed on our goal. Nadanam najanam nasundarim kavidam va jagadisha kamiye mama janmani ishvare bhavatad bhaktir hoituki tohi. That our only goal is a hoituki bhakti. All we want to do is serve Krishna without any motivation, without any personal ambition, without any provincial interest, no local interest. Universal interest, Krishna's interest, only Krishna's interest. Swarta, it's called Swarta. Swarta, my only objective, Swarta. My only objective is the service of Krishna. I don't want anything of this world, I don't want. Anything of the higher world, I don't want. Any promotion to the spiritual world, I don't want. I just want Krishna's loving service. This is a very high state of determination. It's something to aspire towards. Because now we have many ambitions and many other ideas. But this is ekadristi. Ekadristi means one vision, ekavision, one sight. So it's translated, he was staring. When you're staring at someone, then you can't even, if you're really absorbed in what you're staring at, you can't even hear anything. You can't even feel anything. It says he was stambita. Harishe stambita. He was stunned in ecstasy, just staring at the beautiful form of the Lord. Vishambhara Rupachaya. Rasanaya lihe jena darashanepan, puje jena alingana nashikaya grahan. He appeared, Nityananda appeared to be licking the beautiful form of Vishambhara with his tongue. Rasanaya like. It's interesting, I guess. Darashana pana. Drinking it with his eyes. Like means licking. In Bengali, like. Interesting, the word in Bengali, like, L-I-K-E, becomes lick. Rasanaya like jena darashane pan. Pan is like pio. You say pial, pani, pial, place where you drink water. Yeah. So pana means he was drinking darshan. So drinking is usually done with the mouth, not with the eyes. So that's why these two concepts are together. Rasanaya like, jena darashane pan. You can only drink something that's liquid. And liquid means, another name for water or liquid is ras. Like that verse we memorized and forgot. Right? That verse we memorized from Bhagavad Gita and we forgot. What is that verse? About ras. Rasoham. Shashi Suryo. Pranava Sarvedeshu Shabdike Purusham Rishu. Krishna says, Rasoham, Aham, I am Ras, Rasavaisaha. Of course, that's also there. But in this context of Gita, because it's Vibhuti Yoga chapter, this Ras is not talking about Ras in terms of Bhav or Prem, but simply the material counterpart, the experience of Ras, which is simply water. I am the Rasa, I am the taste in water, I am the mellow, the taste of water, Rasoham, Apsu. So here he's saying that Rasayana like jena darashanipan. So he was licking the beautiful form with his tongue. Rasayana, so Ras, water you lick water, you drink it, you sip it. So now he was also drinking with his eyes, because Ras you can drink. You can drink Rasayana, or nectar. Nectar, ras, water, pani, nectar drinks, like rasamrit. But Lord Chaitanya's form is made of ras. What type of ras is it made of? Mahabhav. Madanaki Mahabhav. His form is made of this. He is Mahabhav Sarupini, Radharani, and Rasaraj Chinmayananda Sarup Krishna. Chinmayananda Sarup, Ananda Sarup, Krishna, Rasaraj. Rasaraj Mahabhav Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? So what is Lord Chaitanya's form made out of? Chidananda Sarup, that's one half, inside or outside. Then inside is Mahabhav Sarup. Mahabhav, Rasaraj Mahabhav. So that Mahabhav is Prem, the highest percentage of Prem. So he's Nityananda is licking the beautiful form of Mahaprabhu with his tongue, drinking with his eyes, embracing with his arms, Bhuje Jena Lingana Nashikaya Gran, and smelling it with his nashik. not like there's a city called Nasik in India. That's where, what happened there? Somebody's nose fell over there or something? Is that? I think that's where Lakshman cut off Shupurnika's nose.
Is it?
Maybe. Yeah.
Nasika means nose.
Yeah. Ujjain, Nasik, Hardwar, and Allahabad. These are the 4 sites of Kumbh Mela. But I think it has something to do with that, because when the demons were chasing Mohini, when she had the pot of nectar, then she spilled the nectar and it fell in 4 places. 1 drop fell in Prayag, which is called Allahabad. 1 drop fell in Haridwar, 1 drop fell in Ujjain, and 1 drop fell in Nasik. But I think that Nasik name comes from before Ram Leela, but I'm not sure. But he was smelling the form of Lord Chaitanya with his nose. E mata nityananda hoila stambita na bale na kare kichu sabai vismita. And this way Nityananda became stunned. He neither spoke nor did anything. Everyone there was astonished. Sab-vismita. Sab-log. Nakari kichu. Nabali kichu. Navkari kichu. Nobole. He didn't speak anything. He didn't do anything. Buji lena sarva prana nata gorarai. Nityananda janite srijalilo pai. Gauranga, Gaurarai, is the life and soul of everyone. Sarva Prananath. He's the Prananath of everyone. Or at least we would hope he becomes the Prananath of everyone, because we're also everyone. Then he devised some means of revealing the identity of Nityananda. Srijila Upai, to reveal. Gaurasundar understood Nityananda's service propensity. So then he told Srivas Pandit to recite a verse glorifying the beautiful form of the Lord. Ingite Srivasaprati Umbalila Takure Bhagavatera Eka Shloka Patakari Bare. Gauranga, Gaurai, indicated to Srivas that he should recite a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Ek shlok pat, Karibari. Prabhura ingita buji, Shivasa pandita, Krishna dhyana eka shloka padila tvarita. Understanding the Lord's gestures, Srivas Pandit immediately recited a verse in glorification of Krishna's characteristics. He recited a verse which is Krishna Dhyan Eka Shloka. This is a verse from meditating on Krishna Dhyan, meditating on Krishna's form. Many acharyas, they cite this particular verse from 10th canto of Bhagavatam as a verse for meditation. In the Shlokamrit book, there's one chapter that talks about nectar verses and things. So this is an ideal verse because it describes the actual form of Krishna. But in Lord Chaitanya, or at least Vrindavan Thakur is saying, Prabhu ingita buji, Srivas Pandit, Krishna dhyan ek shloka. So this means one shloka that's meant for meditating on Krishna. So he wanted to do Rup Dhyan, meditate on Krishna's form. So this is the ideal. This is one of the best verses for meditating on Krishna's form, and this comes from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this verse, I believe, is spoken in Venu Gita. This is a section of this book. It says 4 famous prayers describing the beauty of Sri Krishna. This is Venu Gita. Venu Gita means when the gopis gather together. It's one of the 6 Gitas of the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. Venu Gita, Gopi Gita, Pranaya Gita, Viraha Gita, Brahma Gita, etc. And here they gather together. This is called Purva Rag, chapter 21. This is the intense love that was awakening between the gopis and Krishna before they actually met. Of course, this is in Boma Vrindavan. in the spiritual world, they're eternally youthful. Nitya Kishore. There's no taking birth in the spiritual world. There's no growing up. There's no baby Radha. There's no Larali, and there's no Bali Leela and Poganda Leela. It's there, but that's in particular compartments for those that have that bhav. Krishna is eternally Gopal, but actually the feature of taking birth and growing up, that's specific in Boma Vrindavan, according to Jiva Goswami and other Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. Nitya Kishori, Pritamajori. Nitya Kishori, Pritamajori. So this Krishna's eternal age, as you've heard so many times, Krishna is eternal. In the spiritual world, Krishna is eternally manifest. He doesn't take birth from Mother Yashoda and grow up and get dragged around by the calves in the courtyard. That's all Boma Vrindavan. That's why these Leelas here are so especially sweet. So there he's 15 years, 9 months, 7.5 days, forever, eternally. Always was, always is, and always will be. And Radharani is 14 years, 2 months, and 15 days, eternally. But this is one verse describing Krishna's beauty. There's one verse by the Dvija Patnis describing Krishna's beauty. There's one verse by Lord Brahma describing Krishna's beauty. And there's one verse by the gopis. It was by Shukadeva Goswami and Rasa Panchadaya. But this is the verse that's being mentioned. The verse was in the heart of Lord Chaitanya. Gaura Rai had this verse in his heart. We had this idea, oh, you read my mind. If someone says to you, oh, I think you want to go to the temple and have darshan? Maybe you haven't gone for two weeks, and it's in the middle of the week, Wednesday. And you were just thinking of that. You were really strongly thinking of it, and all of a sudden your husband came home from work and said, do you want to go tonight to have darshan? Now, how do you know? I was thinking. Oh, I had some idea. That's called reading the mind. You must have had this experience in some minor way or even a profound way. So what to speak of Srivas Thakur, who was eternal associate of Lord Gaurai, and the Lord is indicating to him by a gesture. He said, understanding Lord's gesture, Ingate Srivas Prati Balde Thakur. He indicated. How he indicated? By a glance, by a thought wave, by a feeling. He didn't say the verse. He didn't say, oh, now please recite a verse from Gopi Gita, chapter 21, verse 5, describing Krishna's beauty, so Nityananda can hear it. He didn't say that. It says indication. The word is indication. Like you can give an indication that you're not interested in someone, or you can give an indication that you're shy by the movements of your body, or drawing lines in the ground with your toes, like the gopis sometimes do, or looking downward, or different ways, or give an indication that you love someone through the movements of the eyes, or the color of your face, or so many different. It's called body language. So body language doesn't originate here. Body language originates there, with the Aditanu. The original body is Radharani and Krishna. So they have a whole body of expressions that they use. So Gauranga is Radha and Krishna combined. So his form of communicating is very subtle and transcendental. So he indicated, and so not only did he indicate that he wanted Srivas Thakur to recite a verse to show the glorious position of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, but he also indicated what verse. That was all told. And this verse was playing very strongly in the heart of Radharani. This verse is always there. Because when the gopis gathered and sang in the Gopi Geet, Venu Geet is not the song of the Venu. Geet means song. We say, oh, Venu Geet. It must be the song of the Venu. And the Venu also sings. But this is actually the song of the gopis glorifying the Venu, Krishna's flute. Vansuri, Murali, Vamshi, Venu. So the gopis are singing and glorifying these beautiful verses. So this verse of Venu Geet, 10th Canto Bhagavatam, chapter 21, verse 5, is spoken by the gopis. Which gopi? We can't say. It could be Radharani. But since Radharani in the form, Krishna in the form of Radharani as Gaurai, is indicating to Srivas to speak a verse to glorify the beauty of Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya is telling, he said, this is the Krishna Dhyanam Eka Shloka Padila Tvarita. He said, this shloka, Eka Shloka, is very good for Krishna Dhyan. That's why it's put in the shloka book. It's not a random collection of shlokas. Lord Chaitanya himself, Radharani herself was saying, you want to know the verse that I memorized, that I spoke to meditate on Krishna? This is the verse that I use to meditate on Krishna. So this verse is recommended by Srimati Radharani for Krishna Dhyan. Like who can write more about the husband than the wife? If she's going to write something confidential or intimate about the husband, then she can write better than anybody, because she knows. The same way, who can write better about Krishna than Radharani? Who can speak about Krishna better than Radharani? So Radharani, we can assume that Radharani spoke this verse, although it's not directly indicated, the speaker of any of those verses in Venu Gita Bhagavatam. But now, because Radharani is speaking through the mouth of Lord Chaitanya, Krishna in the mood of Radharani, and then Radharani looking for Krishna, that's the whole bhav of Gauranga. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Krishna kahan? So now that Krishna that Radharani is meditating on is being revealed in this verse. Parhapitam natavaravapu karanayo karnikaram vidbrad vasaha kanaka kapisham vajiyantim chamalam randran venoradara Sridiyapurayan gopa brinder brindaranyam Sapararamanam pravishad gita kirti. Shyam Sundar is entering the forest of Vrindavan, accompanied by his cowherd boyfriends. So the gopis, they're watching, because before you meet someone, you watch them, you look at them, you hear about them, you dream about them, you cry for them. Someone comes and tells you about that person. Someone may give you a picture of that person. They may do a drawing of that person, a painting of that person. So all these things happened in Purvarag of Radharani and the gopis before they actually had milan, or intimate connection and meeting with Krishna. They saw him pass by their palaces with the cows. When they go out to pick flowers and go out to do puja, they saw him in the distance with the cows, moving with his friends, dressed so attractively like a dramatic actor on a stage with his turban and peacock feather and gunjamala and mineral pigments and designs on his face. And they became captivated by his sweetness and beauty and charm, and became etched on their heart, just like etching on glass. They take some machine that can etch glass and it can never be removed. So the image of Krishna was etched on the glass of their heart in an irremovable way. And when they would dream, they would see that heart's etching, that heart's picture. Then they would wake up crying, "Oh my Lord, oh my Krishna, oh Shyamsundar, when will I meet? When will I meet?" So they're saying, "Oh look, he's entering the forest, accompanied by his cowherd boyfriends. Look what he's wearing. He wears a peacock feather in his turban, a yellow karnikara flower over one ear. And sometimes one day he wears a flower over this ear, and the next day he wears it over that ear. And he's wearing a yellow dhoti as brilliant as gold, and a heart-stealing multicolored garland strung with 5 kinds of fragrant forest flowers. Heart-stealing garland. It's called Vaijayanti. Thus, Shyamsundar displays his form as the greatest of dancers. Natavara Vapu. Natavara. Like we say Govardhan, Vardhan means to increase. So Vara means the greatest, Nata means dancer. Natavara Vapu. This is verse text 8, you can see there. Natavara Vapu, Karnayo Karnikaram. Karna, as you know, Karna means the ear and Karnikaram is the flower. Barhapitam, peacock feather. As he entered the forest of Vrindavan, he looked like a transcendental dancer. So he's not just walking, he's not trotting or jogging into the forest. He's dancing. Brahma, when he saw Krishna in the spiritual world, and he recorded it in his Samhita, he said, "I'm seeing that people there don't walk, they don't jog for health, and go to Priyavan and jog for health, but every step is a dance. Every step is a dance. The water is just like nectar, and every word is like poetry in the spiritual world. Everything is very sweet. So Krishna is dancing. He's simply dancing. So here the gopis are singing, as above, so below. Brahma was singing in the spiritual world. Gopis are in Boma Vrindavan with Krishna. It's also the spiritual world, Prakat Lila. And they're saying, yes, look, this Shyamasundar is dancing into the forest. Thus he displays his form as the greatest of dancers and the topmost expert in amorous love. The nectar of Shyamasundar's flute flows through the holes of the flute, and thus the glorious vibrations of his flute song echo throughout the forest groves. So this is how they're experiencing Krishna with their senses, as much as they can experience, because they have not embraced him or met him confidentially, or they're falling in love. So when you fall in love with someone, you become attracted to everything about the beloved, the form of the beloved, the sound of their voice, the way they move. Because when you love someone, you love everything they do. And when you're envious of someone, you hate everything they do. And Prabhupada was once drinking water, I've told many times. He was drinking water in his room, and he picked up the cup, and he put his finger like this. Very aristocratic. Usually you hold on to the cup like this. He put the finger out and poured the water into his mouth. And when Yamuna Devi or someone said, "Oh, Prabhupada, the way you hold your water cup is so beautiful. So the way your finger goes out like that, it looks so attractive. I like it so much." And Prabhupada laughed and he said, "Yes, that's because you love me. Because you love me, you think that everything I do is charming and beautiful and attractive. But if you didn't have love for me, then you would think everything I do is horrible." Like if you're in a temple and you're envious of someone, you say, "Look at that person. Look at that. Listen to, he's leading the kirtan. He's singing like, his voice, he sounds like a frog. And he walks around, he's so proud. He looks like a dog. Doesn't have any beauty at all. Look at the way he's walking. He walks he waddles like a duck. Doesn't even walk properly." Everything you'll see some fault. So the gopis, they're seeing Krishna, and they're very minutely noticing how he's dressed. So if someone's falling in love, they'll see their beloved in school or in the business. Oh, he wears his shirt like this, and he always leaves one button unbuttoned, and he has a gold chain around his neck, and he has a gold chain with a tennis racket hanging from it. And I noticed that tennis racket. I don't know much, but I think he plays tennis, and and then different things, and his hair is like this, and he keeps it in a ponytail behind his back, and whatever. Maybe he's in a rock band or whatever. So they're noticing, and then what he looks like, and now they're noticing the sound that he looks like this, and he dresses like this, and he walks like this. And what sound is he making? Well, he's a musician. And he wanders through the forest playing his flute. And flute is a very echoing type instrument. It's like the wind. So especially the Venu, they're glorifying Venu. Venu is a rather high-pitched flute. It's only 6 inches long. So it can carry a long way. And probably used it because when he was seducing the gopis and calling the gopis for rasa dance, he no longer employed the Venu. Then Krishna used the Murali, because the contract had already been signed. The arrangement was already made. The Purvarag was already in place. So now he was calling them for lovers' chayast. So he used the Murali, and the Murali is 1 meter long. It makes a very deep sound, impenetrable. It's like no one else can hear it. Only the gopis could hear the sound. It was minus 10 decibels. That doesn't register on the stereo set. 20 megahertz to 20,000 megahertz. It was 300,000 megahertz. It was gopi megahertz. And only they could hear it. Radharani's name was being vibrated, Vishaka's name, Rangadevi, Sudevi, Lalita. And they came running, each to their own tune of the flute, the Murali. And no one could hear. But the Venu is very high, very short and high-pitched. Everyone hears it. Jatila hears it, Kutila hears it, the cows hear it, the monkeys hear it, everyone hears. especially the cows, because it's meant to call them back from distant pastures. So in Krishna, now they're describing the Venu Gita. But later when they're speaking Gopi Gita, then they become maddened by the Murali. They become maddened by the Murali. So the Venu did its job. Because when Krishna was in a very deep place in the forest, in a very distant place, far removed from the Gopis' vision, they could hear the Venu and increase their Purva Rag. Oh, do you hear that? Do you hear the sound of that flute echoing in the distance? And then everyone could hear it and say, yes, we hear it. That's his flute. Oh, it's echoing through the trees. That glorious vibration. The nectar, see, they're saying the nectar of his lips. It says the nectar of his lips flows through the holes of the flute, and thus the glorious vibrations of Krishna's flute song echo throughout the forest groves. So of course they're saying there's something called direct and indirect statement. So direct statement is what's the face value, but then parokshavad is indirect. So they're saying the nectar of his lips is flowing through the holes of his flute, but what they're trying to say, because they're falling in love, is we want the nectar of his lips to flow through the hole in our face. We want the nectar of his lips to flow through the hole, our mouth. Our mouth is also a hole, and our body is like a flute. A flute has how many holes in it? 9 holes. How many holes are in the human body? 9 holes. It's called Navadwarapura. Navadwarapura, a city of 9 gates. Pura means city. Navadwarapura. So they're saying, oh, you're sending the nectar through the 9 holes of your flute, the nectar of your lips. But we want you to send the nectar of your lips through our flute. Our body is a flute. But we don't want the nectar to go through all the holes, just in our mouth. Just pour all the nectar of your mouth in our mouth. And of course that will come to pass. This is their sankalpa. This is their wish. Mukhi Lala ki jai. So then, when they meet in the rasa dance, and then when they're dancing so expertly and bending their waists and jingling their ankle bells and their waist bells and playing their hand cymbals and singing so beautifully, when Krishna is very pleased with them, he will dance up in time with them, besides them. Then he will put his cheek next to theirs. Kapola sparsha kapola. His cheek will touch their cheek. Then to show his appreciation for their dancing, then he will kiss them and pass the tambul batika, or the chewed betel mahaprasad, the prasadi pan, from Krishna's mouth will be passed to the mouth of the gopi, and then she'll get the reward. And then the nectar of Krishna's lips will flow into the mouth of her flute. And then she will start singing. So this is what they're saying. The nectar of his lips flows through the holes of the flute, and thus the glorious vibrations of the flute song echo throughout the forest groves. Singing Krishna's glories, the coward boys follow behind. In this way, Vrindavan Dham, which is more charming than Vaikuntha, becomes delighted by the touch of his feet. Vrindaranyam Sapara Ramanam Pravishad Gita Kirti. Gita Kirti. So Kirti means glorious and famous. Vrindavan becomes glorious because of the Gita, the Gwal Gita. Gwal means cowherd boy. Gopa Gita. We have Gopi Gita and Gopa Gita. The boys are also singing the glories of Krishna with their own bhav. Their bhav is Sakya bhav, brotherly love, friendly love. Vishramba Priti. Vishramba means that your body and my body are the same, and even I'm better than you. Vishramba, very intimate feelings. Vishramba Priti, Vishramba Sakiras. So they're singing Gop Gita, or Gwal Gita. And that Gita makes Vrindavan famous. Then it says Swapara Ramanam. Then Vrindavan, the land of Vrindavan, Swapara Ramanam. It says here that the translation is that Vrindavan becomes delighted by the touch of his lotus feet. So Swapara Ramanam. So Ramanam, like we have Radharaman, we say Hare Krishna and Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Ram means Ramanam, or Radharaman. So Ramana means delightful or enchanting, but Ramanam actually means rati, actually means conjugal enjoyment. conjugal bliss, conjugal pleasure. So Swapada Ramanam, that Krishna, he's putting his feet, Swapad, Krishna Swapad, his own feet, he's placing on the breasts of Mother Earth. Mother Earth is a mother, she's a mother. He's walking on her surface, it's like putting his feet on her breast. And she feels delighted by the touch of Krishna's feet on her surface or on her breast. She feels very happy and delighted, Ramanam. But actually that's also goes on in Ramanam Leela or Ratikeli. And so this is another indication. They're saying, yes, now your feet are walking on the breast of the earth, so Padaramanam. But someday in the future, because we're in love with you, and we're hoping that our love will meet its final point, that we'll have union with you. And then we will also hold your tender, soft feet on our raised breasts. We'll hold your feet over there, so Padaramanam. This is our sankalpa. We will taste the nectar of your flute, and then when we taste the nectar, your flute will become ecstatic, and then our pastimes will progress even more, and then I will even, in loving ecstasy, I will hold your feet upon my breast. This is in chapter 21. Then you see 10 chapters later, in chapter 31, which is called Gopi Gita. We're hoping that our love will meet its final point, that we'll have union with you. And then we will also hold your tender, soft feet on our raised breast. We'll hold your feet over there, Swapadaramanam. This is our sankalpa. We will taste the nectar of your flute, and then when we taste the nectar, your flute will become ecstatic, and then our pastimes will progress even more, and then I will even, in loving ecstasy, I will hold your feet upon my breast. This is in chapter 21. Then you see 10 chapters later, in chapter 31, which is called Gopi Gita. Here the gopis are speaking Venugita, and 10 chapters later, chapter 31, 10th canto, Rasa Panchadai, the gopis are also speaking, called Gopi Gita. And there they say the same thing. Oh, we fear that your feet are so tender, if we place them on our raised breasts, that you may hurt your feet there, because our breasts are very hard. They're not all flat and saggy and like this. They're very hard and firm and raised and beautiful. So you may hurt your tender feet. They're saying this. These same verses are there. Oh, now you're wandering in the forest somewhere in this moonlit night. So here what they're mentioning here will be fulfilled in Rasa Leela. Rasa Leela means all rasas. All rasas are there. Mukhi rasa, Guna rasa. Everything is fulfilled there. It is an emporium of ras. It's called Rasa Leela. And all the rasas are there. There's ras and ras. There's like Madhura ras, Sakya ras, but that's ras. Long A, ras. Because all of the rasas are combined over there. So this is the verse that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu indicated to Srivas. He said, listen, by his heart's wish, or heart to heart, he communicated, please recite this verse. So Srivas recited this verse, which is the Ek Shloka Krishna Dhyan. This is the shloka, the one shloka to meditate on Krishna. The beauty of Krishna is this one. This is approved and certified and recommended by Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya is the Bhakti Avatar. He's the teacher of Prema Bhakti. He's the teacher of Braja Bhakti. So if we want to cultivate Braja Bhakti, this is a very important verse for us to memorize and to meditate upon. Because he's a Shiksha Guru. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not only Krishna in the mood of Radharani, Radhabhav and Kanti, relishing his own internal experiences and relishing Radharani's Mahabhav, but he's also teaching us through his direct words and through the words of his disciples and followers how to cultivate Braj Bhakti, especially in Gopi Bhav and Madhurya Bhav and Manjri Bhav. So of course, in our new book this will be there, this verse will be there. Shunim, now, so this verse was spoken for the benefit or pleasure or satisfaction of Lord Nityananda and for the edification of all the assembled devotees who had gathered with Lord Chaitanya. Because Lord Chaitanya wants, as I said, Lord Chaitanya is teaching. He's teaching us by this verse that yes, we should, this is a good verse for Krishna Dhyanam, for meditation on Krishna. Because Raganuga Bhakti is called Manodharma, the religion of the mind. So it's very much concerned with meditation. Smaran, Dharan, Dhyan, Dhruvanusmriti, Samadhi. These are the 5 stages of meditation. First there's casual remembrance, then holding for some time is called dharana, holding, Smaran, and Dhyanam, Dharan, holding, and Dhyana means extended meditation without distraction. Then Dhruva Anusmriti. Anusmriti means remembering Anu, one after the other, moment to moment, in an unbroken way. Just like if you take some honey and you pour some honey from a jar, it pours in a steady stream. It won't, like water may break, but honey will be steady until it falls, empties. Then there's Samadhi, which means complete absorption for hours on end, days on end. So now he's also teaching his followers the glories of Nityananda, because we'll see the reaction of Lord Nityananda when he hears this verse. We just heard this verse, and we had our own particular reactions, maybe falling asleep or whatever, and falling unconscious in our own way, falling unconscious due to ignorance. Shuni matra Nityananda shloka ucharan padila murchitahana nahika chetan. As soon as Nityananda heard this verse, he fell unconscious on the ground. This is called pralaya. It's the 8th symptom of astasattvic bhavs. And it happens when everything else is over, all the circuits, short-circuit everything, then you go unconscious. Anande morchita haila Nityanandarai parapara shivasera goranga shikai. Nityananda lost consciousness in ecstasy. Anand. Gauranga instructed Srivas to continue reciting Shloka Shuni Kattashani Hoila Chaitan Tabe Prabhu Lagilena Karita Krandan. Hearing verse after verse after verse, Nityananda finally regained his consciousness and began to cry. Puna Puna Shloka Shuni Bhadiye Unmad Brahmanda Bhedaya Hena Shuni Singhanad. Nityananda's madness increased, Unmad, as he heard the continual recitation of verses, shloka after shloka, puna puna shloka, shuni, bhadaya, bhadaya, Unmad. He roared so loudly that the sound pierced the universe. Brahmanda bayed, like we say, Achintya Beda Beda Tattva, simultaneously one and different, no division. So bayed means to divide or crack. He cracked the universe. Singhanad. We say Venonad or Nokia Nad. Nad means sound. Nokia Nad. Roaring like a lion. Alakshite antarikshe padaye achad. Sabe mane bhave kiva chorna hoilahad. Nityananda jumped in the air and fell forcefully to the ground. Everyone there thought that his bones were smashed. No one could imagine that such a reaction would occur simply by hearing a few Sanskrit shlokas. If someone reads 5 or 6 shlokas to us in succession, it's a sure way to fall asleep. Someone says, I'm going to read the Bhagavatam. I'm going to read 1 chapter of 10th canto to you, all the shlokas in Sanskrit. There's 60 shlokas. By the 21st shloka, you'll be snoring. But he's jumping up in the air and crashing down and breaking all his bones. Anyare kidhaya Vaishnavera lage bai. Raksha Krishna sabe sanarai. What to speak of others? Even the Vaishnavas were frightened. Then they prayed, "Oh Krishna, Krishna, please protect him." We had Raki, right? So this is Raksha. Raksha Krishna. Protect him, Krishna, protect him. Garagari Jai Prabhu, Priti Dhira Tale, Kalevara Purna Haila, Nayanera Jale. Nityananda rolled on the ground. His entire body became wet with tears of love. Priti Dhira Tale, Kalevara Purna Nayanera Jale. His entire body was washed with the tears rushing from his eyes. Vishambara Mukhachahi Chare Ghana Shwas Antare Ananda Shane Mahas. Nityananda sighed deeply while looking at the face of Vishwambara. His heart was full of ecstasy, and he repeatedly laughed loudly. Mahahas, Ganashwas, Chare Ganashwas, Vishwambara Mukha Chahi, Chare Ganashwas, Antare Ananda. Inside he was full of bliss. Shane Nritya Shane Nat, Shane Bahutal, Shane Joda Joda Lampa, Dehi Deki Bhal. One moment Nitai danced, one moment he bowed down, one moment he clapped his hands, and one moment he jumped wonderfully with his feet together. This phrase, Bahutala, Bahu means arms, that refers to the sound that wrestlers make when they slap their arms in a wrestling arena. Come on. Make big sounds, slap their biceps. And then the person, oh. And everybody in the audience, oh, nice. Just like in the jungle, what do the gorillas do? Gorilla? You ever see in the movies? All right, they beat their chest. Ah! You ever saw? And then the little baby gorillas in Vrindavan, baby gorillas, the rhesus monkeys of Vrindavan is called rhesus. They go, they don't beat their chest, but they go, right? When they're angry, they want to show they're tough, they stand, and their ears go, Dekhi Adbhuta Krishna Unmaranand Sakala Vaishnava Sange Kande Gorachand. Seeing Nityananda's amazing ecstatic madness and love of God. Dekhiya Adbhuta Krishna Unmad Anand Sakala Vaishnava Sange Kande Gorachandra. All the Vaishnavas began to cry, Kande, along with Gorachandra. Puna Puna Bhare Shukka Atti Anibhar Darena Sabayakeya Nare Daribhar. Hari Purusham Ramaham Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Ramaham Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Ramaham Bhajami Ekam Bhagavatam Haravindanaya Taksham Bhagavatam Samashitam Buddha Sundaram Kanda Uttato Buddhita Majira Vishesha Shubham Govindam Hari Purusham Mahabhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Mahabhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Mahabhajami Priya Priti Bhanti Vasanti Bhanti Kayanti Dhira Damodara Swami Ananda Chimbaya
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare.
Take the picture. He's not here. It's this I need to. You can take it there. Hari Hari Bo, thank you. Oh yeah, delicious bread. What a delicious thing.
Thank you all very much.
We will go for Simon Bhagavatam.
Hare Krishna. Accept my humble obeisance at your divine lotus feet, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.